Spring training is rolling, and so is the World Baseball Classic, and some Cubs have really showed out so far for their teams. Shout out Javier Assad, not shocked. Team USA, looking good. Well, I want to talk about Seiya Suzuki, member of the Japanese team, maybe the team to beat in this tournament. Yahoo Sports predicting he's going to have a career year. It's a contract season. Would not surprise me. We're going to get into what he could potentially do, his contract situation, and would the Cubs re-sign him. We're going to talk about Kyle Wright. Why did he pick the Cubs when he could have gone to a lot of other teams and had, with the Cubs' rotation and depth and pitching, an easier chance to get to the major leagues? All that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Don't forget, tomorrow, Beer Money with Cubs Hall of Famer Jody Davis. You guys love the show. From your comments, share with your Cubs friends and help us get to 10,000 subscribers. We're getting there fast, and we appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Let's get this show started. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel, and let's cut to the chase. Let's get right to today's lead story, and that is it is a contract season for Seiya Suzuki, right? What does that mean? Well, it means that he's a free agent next year, along with some other guys, including Ian Happ, his outfield mate, Nico Horner, and down the road, he could be potentially affected by another contract. Now, first off, let me start out by saying this. Seiya Suzuki, I agree with Yahoo Sports. Jared Bloom wrote a story there. He's like, look, Seiya Suzuki could be the Cub to watch this year. Cubs gave him a 5-year deal in 22, and he's been hot and cold. There's been times where he's been one of the best players in the game. He's dealt with some injuries. Last year in the postseason, I felt like he was the Cub that you wanted at the plate. And, last season, the guy hit 32 home runs and he had 103 runs batted in. And him and Pete Crow Armstrong kind of had that back and forth thing going, loved it. And I look at him right now and I'm like, okay, yeah. Kyle Tucker's out of the picture. He's the right fielder again. He lost that job because of his defense. He was like a DH. Now he's back in right. And he's got a lot to play for. And Yahoo Sports is saying, hey, ESPN ranked him the 92nd best player. We've seen flashes of what he does. And when you look at the Seiya Suzuki scouting report, what do you get from him? Well, first off, you love the fact that it's consistency, right? Great first half in 25, faded in the second half, and then obviously in the playoffs was dynamite, right? Dealt with some injuries. What is he known for? Well, he's known for being a grinder, the high effort, right? Great personal approach, being a fantastic teammate. He's got the compact swing, the leg kick. When he makes contact, gets some high exit velocity, hits home runs. And in right field, he was a Gold Glover in Japan, but in America, at the beginning, it was like he just had some trouble, but I thought he played a pretty good defensive right field last year. Cubs last season aren't as good without him, and he's got something to play for now, right? I mean, this is it. So that's the first thing. Now, he's competing with his teammates to get a contract. And it's not just Ian Happ. And Yahoo put in their story that they felt like the Cubs would potentially want to sign, if it came down to he and Ian Happ, that it would most likely be Ian Happ because Ian Happ is a better all-around player. Now, I think that Seiya Suzuki is more of an impact player. I talked about Ian Happ on a show a couple of days ago. You guys saw it. If you didn't, go watch it. I feel like the Cubs probably would like to pay Happ a little less, but I do appreciate the base running, love the defense, the fact that he's a switch hitter. He's someone that cares about the city. He's been an integral part of the Cubs for a long time. But he's saying, Happ, when interviewed, he's like, look, could be somewhere else next year, a new chapter. And that's because he doesn't know if the Cubs are going to re-sign him. I don't think they're going to re-sign him for that money. And then you look at Seiya Suzuki, and, I feel like kind of potentially the same thing. Although I think that there's a bigger upside with Seiya just because of the home runs and the RBIs. And he is a run producer, and he was a difference maker in the postseason. So the biggest games he ever played, he was good. So I think that helps him a lot moving forward. So we'll see what happens. But the other guy that we haven't talked about, but was in this story, and it does make sense, is that the Cubs are obviously looking at Pete Crow Armstrong and thinking, hey, we would love to have PCA locked in for a long time. I think Hollywood Pete would like that. I think the Cubs would like that. I think we would like that. Right? I think we would. I think all of us. That could affect a contract extension for Seiya Suzuki as well. And then the other thing, which is just my opinion, is but we got to see how the player owner contract goes in the offseason. What the salary cap looks like, if there is one, right? Like how much money you spend. I think that's another part of this. But, 32 years old, starting to get up there in age. I feel like the Seiya Suzuki contract has been a pretty good one for the Cubs. I mean, I feel like the guy's been a better than average player, and sometimes even better than that. I like what he brings to the table every day. And if it was me, I would probably think, Seiya over Happ, but then I get it, man. Like the other part of Happ's game is the defense, the gold gloves, the arm out in left field, like the consistency. I mean, maybe he's not hitting home runs and driving in a bunch of guys, but he's been there for a long time. I don't know. I mean, there's going to be some tough decisions for this front office, but I'm all about them re-signing Pete Crow Armstrong. Hey, guys, I want to tell you that it's been just fantastic having guys like Jesse Rogers join the Cubs baseball channel. Made his debut for us last week. We'll talk to him this week as the World Baseball Classic rolls on, Cubs spring training. I thought that he had an excellent debut, talking about stuff like Ian Happ's contract extension. And giving his insight on that, and the Owen Casey trade, saying, hey, there was guys in the front office that just didn't think that Owen Casey was going to be that big of a star and felt comfortable trading him. Great insight from him, and we'll have him back on this week. And also look for our friend Tony Andracki. And then again, tomorrow we have Beer Money with Jody Davis. That comes on every Sunday. All right, the last thing I want to talk about on today's show has to do with Kyle Wright. Now, Kyle Wright picked the Cubs, and he picked the Cubs over other teams. And there's a reason why he picked the Cubs. The reason that Kyle Wright picked the Cubs, according to him, first off, he wants to get healthy. And we knew that. And they're going to take their time getting him healthy. They don't need him to go out there and be a starter on day one. This is a development project. This is not quite as bad as the Shelby Miller development project, which is going to cost him the whole year. Basically, the Cubs signed him 2 years to have him next year. He's going to work most likely at AAA Iowa at the start of the season. Cubs are going to stretch him out slowly, figure out if he's going to be a starter or a reliever, probably by what he's able to do. Now, when he was in Atlanta, he's the last big league 20-game winner, which is pretty crazy to think about, right? And I thought after that first year, after 2022, I made 30 starts and pitched 180 innings to go along with his 21-5 record, that, he was going to be one of these Atlanta Braves starters that was in the rotation for a long time, winning a bunch of games, but he's been dealing with all these injuries, shoulder injury and other stuff. Okay. The reason that he signed with the Cubs, great reason. Cubs traded last year for Michael Soroka. You remember this. And he got hurt after like 2 innings. And he came back and he was terrible. He was hurt. It's a waste. But maybe it wasn't, because Soroka was Wright's teammate with Atlanta and told him, hey, man, Cubs are a great organization. You ought to do that. And it reminds me, when I heard this, of Yu Darvish, who pitched for the Cubs, traded to San Diego, and the Owen Casey deal, telling, Seiya Suzuki, telling Shota Imanaga, I can't remember which one of those guys it was, but hey, I think it was Seiya. You are going to love Chicago. It's a great place to pitch, great place to play, because I think it was Shota. Because of the day games, you get to spend more time with your family. Great organization. I've been around. Look, I've been part of the organization for 20 years. And I second that immediately when I heard that. This is great. Like, look, forget about the on-field stuff or what the media writes. Me, I've lived it. Tom Ricketts is a great guy. I mean, forget about like how much money he spends on a roster. I've had beers with him and talked college football and baseball and anything else. He's a great guy. Crane Kenny, great guy. I know, like, you'd read the media and you think some of these guys are terrible. No, you just might not agree with the way they want to spend their money. You might not want to, you might read that a writer doesn't like them or some former employee, but just my point of view. And I feel like that about Jed Hoyer. I think he's a great guy. I don't know Craig Counsell personally. I told you on yesterday's show that his sister's married to Gary Hughes' son, Rock. Rock's a great guy. There's just a lot of awesome people in the Cubs organization, and I hope that doesn't change. But it's been like that for a long time, and I could see why players would say, hey, you know what? The fans are the best. We know that. And the stadium's the best. And the city kicks ass. But then you're like, and ownership and the front office, like it's a very comfortable place. And Kyle Wright picked the Cubs, he said, partly because of Michael Soroka's recommendation. A guy that played for the Cubs that's getting a blue jacket in August is Jody Davis. That's him down there. And his show is Beer Money. And on Sundays, we try to drop a brand new beer money for you guys here. Tell me in the comments section what you want me to ask Jody, and I'll do that. So this Sunday, when you get up, get that coffee, turn it on, you can hear him talking about the time that Rhino lit somebody's shoes on fire. It caught their newspaper on fire in the Wrigley Clubhouse bathroom. Yeah. And that guy, I think it was Sarge, was not too happy. Couldn't figure out who did, because Rhino wouldn't do something like that. We talked about his teammates with the Cubs, the 84 Cubs, and a bunch of other stuff. So anyway, guys, thank you for being here, being a part of what we're doing. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers and past that. And also the other thing is this. Please share the beer money with your old school Cubs fans. I know it's a little different than what we do here on a daily basis, or at least where we were, but we're growing and we're changing things up. We got some all-stars on this team now, so it's a little bit different. But with Jody, I like to talk a little bit of current stuff and then a little bit of, things from his day and age. So anyway, like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell, go Cubs. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Oh, I can't get out of here without hitting this. AveD, Mick Nation. We're covering the NCAA tournament. We're giving you guys a chance to win some loot right there while you watch. And we're going to fill out brackets. You can win money. It's all free. AveD, QR code right there, Mick Nation. All right, guys, that is really the end of the show.